Welcome into NHL Tonight, first shift for Tuesday, May the 27th, 2025. EJ Radic here in studio, and joining me again, second day in a row, my goalie, Devan Dubnyk. Dubs, how you doing, buddy?
Awesome. It's nice to be here 2 days in a row.
I know. I think we got you tomorrow, too. I think.
Oh, bonus.
All right.
I know there's a chance of it, so I'll keep my fingers crossed.
You might be stuck with me for 3 straight days, so I think there's extra pay when you do 3 shows in a row with me. I'm not 100% sure on that. You'll have to check with the powers that be. But thanks for being with us today. And let's get right to first things first, because we thought we were going to go to, we're going to have the funeral for the Carolina Hurricanes last night. And it wasn't the case. The Florida Panthers, we thought they were going to wrap it up, but the Canes played really, really well in the game, and they finally won a conference final game. You have to go all the way back to Game 7 against the Sabres in 2006. Peter Laviolette was the coach at that time. Ronnie Brind'Amour is coaching now. He had the game winner. But finally, after 15 straight conference final losses, they get it done in Florida with a 3-0 shutout win over the Panthers. And Doobie, I just thought it was a terrific overall performance from the Canes with the kind of pushback and the energy and the desperation that they needed in this game. They found it, and they found a way to win.
Yeah, it was really there. I mean, this goal, too, by Stankoven is just incredible, the way he gets that puck off his stick. But just the game in general, they were the better team this game. And that just hasn't been the case. It hasn't even been close to the case. And so if you're going to win 4, you got to start with 1. And obviously we're still a long ways away from that, but we talked about it yesterday. They have to start shift by shift to start the game and piece the game together and not let it unravel, not let it get out of control like they have in these other games. And they did a great job of that. Some penalties early. Their penalty kill looked great. They killed them off. Freddie Anderson was fantastic. Everything that needed to happen for Carolina happened. And they need to take that and understand, because Carolina, this is a great hockey team that has not been a great hockey team in this playoff round. So there's no reason that they shouldn't have belief that they can be that team, but they have to go do it like they did last night. So they finally have a winning feeling in the Eastern Conference Final. It's been about 19 years, it looked like. But win's a win, and they're coming off of a win.
That's right.
So they need to just go back to the same recipe as they had last game for next game, and that is just every single shift matters. And whatever happens, obviously they didn't have to face adversity last game as far as getting scored on and then trying to counter and make sure the next line doesn't go get scored on right away, because the goals have kind of come in bunches for Florida sometimes in this series. So they didn't have to deal with that. So if Florida gets one, we're going to see how they do deal with that. But they have to go back to that recipe. And, all this is fine and dandy, but unfortunately for them, they're still playing a really, really good Florida Panthers team. So not only is it a challenge to do what they need to do as a team, they're also up against a team that also is going to do their own thing.
I want to ask you, because you mentioned the Stankoven goal. That was a great shot. Take me through that as a goalie, because Bobrovsky was terrific in the game. Stankoven comes in on the off-wing side and then kind of goes short side up high. Give me your thoughts. I mean, put yourself in that spot there. Are you expecting that shot? What do you make of that play?
Yeah, you're expecting the shot. I mean, the D-man's chasing him down here, down the side, so he's not going anywhere. But listen, this is just a phenomenal wrist shot. He's inside the top of the circle. I know no one is used to seeing Bob get beat, but look at the way he lets this go. It's a couple strides, and he doesn't take a lot of time to load it up, and that's a heavy shot too. So yes, Bob's in position. Yes, it's a straight shot. Guess what? These players are allowed to score on shots sometimes. I know we're not used to seeing that out of Bobrovsky, but that was an incredible shot, and combined with the release, I think he knows he's shooting. He's got the guys chasing him, so he's squared up to him. One of the best goalies, if not the best goalie on the planet right now, and Bob. And it's a one-on-one battle. Stankoven just beats him with an incredible shot.
Yeah, you just got to tip your cap in that situation, right?
It's the only one he gave up. You can't start beating him up over those ones.
No.
And again, you can't start beating him up over laser beams over the shoulder. So I just watching that slow motion replay of that puck just explode off of Stankoven's stick was really cool.
Yeah, like I said, I just thought it was because Bobrovsky played really well last night. I mean, he almost stole the game because Florida didn't have a lot of jam in the game. Carolina played very well. He made a number of big saves. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that play because it was I thought it was a really good shot. It's one of those shots that when a guy comes down like that, if he can hit that spot, he's probably going to score on almost anybody because that's the way the goalies play now, right? They kind of get into that, they get squared, they get into the butterfly, they give you a little bit of a spot there. If you can hit it, you score.
Yeah, and a lot of times in that spot too, is a right-handed shot, is guys will pull it in and then they'll try to get the goalie to adjust to that angle change, and they'll try to rip it back far side. So even the location of the shot might have thrown off Bobrovsky a little bit, just because like I said, watch him pull it in. A lot of righties will pull it in and go far side, hoping the goalie makes a small adjustment and opens up that far side. But he pulls it in, so not only is this a great shot, that's a difficult shot to make as a right-handed shooter from that spot. So again, you do, as a goalie, you have to be anticipating a little bit where that shot's going to go. You're reading all these things, how his body is, where his shoulders are, his stick blade, all these things just calculate in your head, because you have to have a read for how hard the puck's coming at you. And so with that shot, his read might not have been short side high, and that's what makes it an even better shot by Stankoven, is that it didn't look like that's where he was going to release the puck.
Yeah, see, that's the funny thing, talking to you guys over the years. I always find it interesting, like in your mind, you're ticking off things like in such short amount of time, like you're seeing a guy, okay, like you probably, like you said, his read, right? He might have been just thinking like, okay, the shot's going to be this way. And he just was a misread because Stankoven made a great shot and he did something that was unexpected. But it's just amazing to me. You guys are thinking about, like, that's a short window of time. That's like a half a second. Well, you're thinking about 6 things. It's amazing that you guys can go through that.
Well, yes, it doesn't. You don't go through the checklist like, his shoulders are here. Yeah, okay, no, it happens. It happens really quick in the head,
right?
Yeah.
Instinct.
Yeah, and that comes with, that's why the best goalies are where they are, because they're able to process that at a super high speed and have the shot come in. And really, it's giving yourself an opportunity to make that save, because the shots are so hard. Like, if you're just standing in there purely reacting to a shot at that speed from that close, and you have no information about where it might go, I don't care who you are, the reaction speed is not there. You're not just going to be able to stand there. So that's the thing, is there's so many things go into when a guy is shooting, that we have an idea of where the puck is most likely going to go. So we're not trying to think about every single spot that's open. You're trying to think about maybe a couple spots, or at least an area, and then you're stopping the puck from there. And you still have to react to it, but you're reacting to an area that is, you're playing the odds that that's where it looks like he's going to release the puck, and then you can be more precise. That's why you see guys make these incredibly precise saves on shots that are from very close or very hard, because they've calculated that that's most likely where the puck's going to be headed.
Yeah, amazing stuff that you guys at the very highest level do at that position. It's kind of mind-boggling. I got to ask you about Jaccob Slavin, too, because Roddy Brind'Amour leaned on him, as he should, in this spot. He's missing some veteran defensemen. 28 minutes for Slavin last night. He had 4 blocks, and he's just so good with that long reach. He's got the good stick. Let me get your thoughts on Slavin and how impactful he was last night.
Yeah, he's incredible, and he has been all playoffs, and that they need him. He's their guy. The stuff that he doesn't go on the score sheet all the time. I mean, sometimes it does. He scores some great goals, but I mean, just watching some of the blocks and the way you want to talk, we just talked about goalies reading stuff. He's such an incredible shot blocker because of the way, he's able to read. He'll readjust himself as a guy pulls it in and he gets caught running around. I don't know if we have it, probably not, but there was a block that he got off his skate where he got past the play, and the way that he was able to readjust his body and just stick his back foot out and block the shot. I mean, it's crazy. There's got to be a little bit of goalie in him to be able to do that kind of stuff. But, again, he's their guy that needs to be that good for them to have a chance. But, I mean, there's a better chance than not that he is going to be that good, because he's just watching him game in, game out. He is just such a rock back there for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, and the old veteran Brent Burns, he played well as well. And Nichushkin, the rookie, came in and played well. So the Hurricanes live to fight another day. Game number 5 will take place in Raleigh on Wednesday night. We come back and take a look at the West. What's going on for the Dallas Stars? Can they get it tied up, or will the Oilers take a stranglehold tonight at home? Talk about the Stars and the Oilers next on First Shift. Here's Here's a tweet from Jason Greger, just short and sweet. Pickard will back up. Ekholm still won't play. I added the still. And Victor Arvidsson draws in for Connor Brown. Connor Brown took a hit the other night from Petrovic. He will be out, so Arvidsson is in. And, let's face it, for the Dallas Stars, Doobie, I would say, it's not must win because they'll play a game 5 either way, but I think we're getting into that territory where they have to kind of make a statement in this series. They can win tonight, they go back home, it's dead even. What can they do in this game to make a difference?
Well, they have to play a smart road game to start, because I look at the LA series with Edmonton, and when they tied the series 2-2 and started to really get their game going, and then they went into LA and they just put their foot on the gas and rolled over them. And being at home right now in game 3, coming off 6 goals for, the Oilers are going to look to do the same thing. They're going to start this game. Anyone that's been in Rogers knows it's absolutely insane in there. And the Oilers are going to try to overwhelm them. They're going to try to put their foot on the gas and just make them feel like they don't have a chance right from the get-go. So as a road team in that situation, you have to play smart from the puck drop. The first 10 minutes of the game are going to be so crucial for Dallas, because if you let the Oilers get on the board 1 or 2, this place is going to be out of control. And we've all seen the Oilers feed off of that. So Dallas just has to play smart, make the game boring. Make it as boring as you possibly can. That's what you need as the road team in a busy building. Quiet the place down, and then have your guys go to work. We know Randon's been great, but they're going to need other guys. Yeah. They have to step up. They have to put pucks in the back of the net. They did a great job creating scoring chances last game. Unfortunately, Stuart Skinner, for them, had his best game of the playoffs. So they're going to have to try to get something going. But the thing that they need to make sure doesn't happen is that the Oilers get things going in the first 10 minutes, because that can get out of control pretty quick.
Here's some more good news for the Stars. They are 2-5 on the road in these playoffs. And in the last 3 road games, they've lost them all, and they've been outscored 14-1. So I would suggest that your game plan is a wise one to get out there early and just to kind of quiet things down and find their way. And I thought they actually did a pretty good job of that early in Game 3. They had that really kind of an odd turning point where it looked like it should have been a puck over glass penalty against the Oilers. It wasn't called. And then the Oilers scored 2 goals in a very short, within a minute of each other. The Stars have to avoid that kind. No matter what adversity comes your way, Dev, right? You have to stay the course.
Yes, and that's going to be a challenge, an extra challenge when you're on the road in a building like this too, because we talked about Carolina and Florida and that same thing where it's like Carolina's right there and then a goal goes in and then everything goes off the rails. That's the same thing that can happen here. Is you can have your chances. Maybe you get one, whatever it is, but Edmonton gets one, the building gets loud. Maybe they get another one. And you have to find a way to put a cork in it and just settle things down. Again, get it boring right away again. Get them calmed down. Get whistles. Just dumb the game down for a little bit. I'm not saying play the whole game that way, but things can unravel quick with the offensive ability of the Oilers and how crazy this building is. As a road team, you got to find a way to not let things unravel and get off the tracks, because they can in a hurry there.
No question about that. We will see how it unfolds this evening, 8 o'clock on ESPN. It is time now, though, for the Top Line, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. And JD off today, Sanford at the wheel producing. Lawrence Goldstein, our ace researcher here, they've come up with this parlay, and it's heavy Dallas Stars, Doobie. I mean, the Stars to win the first period, the Stars to score the first goal, and then the over on the 1.5 goals in the first. If you put those 3 together, you're at plus 470. I mean, this is going against the grain, Doobie, because the Stars have been outscored. They have allowed the first goal 13 of 16 in the playoffs. They've played 16 playoff games. They've given up the first goal, 13 goals. Normally when you do that, you're not in the conference final. And on the road this year, they don't have a single goal in the first period on the road. So, I mean, they're going against the grain with the idea of maybe the Stars are due. But I don't know if they're so due. We'll see. What do you think of it?
Well, there's a reason it's plus 470, and that's not because the odds makers think it's going to go that way. So, listen, I'm all for the plus bets. I love to do small little parlays with a heavy plus because it's always fun when it hits. But like you said, 13 out of 16 games got scored on first. So out of any of these, well, I guess to win the first period, they're probably going to want to score first. But Tough to say. Tough to say. I might go on the other side of that one.
All right. Yeah. Well, listen, we'll be watching tonight, and if it comes through, we'll give the credit. If it goes the other way, we will probably bring that up as well. But there you have it. Coming up next, Joel Quenneville, the new coach of the Anaheim Ducks, is going to join us. Looking forward to seeing what's going on with Q next on First Shift.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And this week, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code FLY when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Let's take a look at the coaching resume of one Joel Quenneville, three-time Stanley Cup champion with the Chicago Blackhawks. A world of experience. You can see 969 career wins, second most in NHL history behind only Scotty Bowman, most among active coaches, and he was recently named the 12th head coach in the history of the Anaheim Ducks franchise. And with that, we bring in Q. Thanks so much for the time today. Really appreciate it, and really good to have you back behind an NHL bench. You must be excited taking over an Anaheim team that made a big improvement last year, and they've got a lot of really talented young players.
Well, thanks, EJ. Thanks for having me. And it's been an opportunity here going into this season, knowing that we got to be a team that's got a lot of youthfulness and a lot of young players. That kind of reminds me of the days when we started in Chicago, comparable to when I went to Florida, that things are looking really good over the last year or so, that they're progressing in the right way, and a lot of young skilled players, a lot of talent, a lot of excitement going into the next year's training camp, and feel very fortunate to be a part of it, especially at this time.
Yeah, you know, Q, I mean, you look at it here. I'm looking at Leo Carlsson is 20, McTavish is 22, Gauthier is 21, Lacombe, he's an old-timer, he's 24, Zegras is 23, Zellweger is 21, Mintyukov is 21. I mean, these guys are all right in the early stages of things. I mean, when you think of that youth and they've been moving forward, what do they need to do next year? What's the next steps for these guys? Because they're obviously very talented, and they were all high draft picks.
Yeah, they are, and they've done a lot of good things in a short amount of time. But I thought they made a huge jump last year in their efforts moving up in the lineup, and I say lineup in the standings. Mm-hmm. And these young guys, I mean, they at that age, there's a lot to grasp in the game, and getting comfortable with your own game, and getting comfortable with a team game and the systems, and it's a demanding league. Knowing that they're coming from shorter seasons and they're playing against men. But I think we've tried to prioritize going into the season that, hey, make it a good summer. We want to make sure that we want to be stronger as we go into camp. Their enthusiasm has been outstanding going over the last couple of weeks, talking to the guys. We got some veteran guys that are excited about where we're at as a team, and they're part of this young group as well. But we think we can make each other better on a regular basis. We want to make sure that we try to establish a team identity as quickly as possible coming in and out of training camp. That we want to be a team that's going to be working hard and playing really at that relentless effort that we want to measure regularly. So that's kind of what our ambition is going into the season, that these kids are going to be part of the process and not just kids anymore. I think that they should be grabbing some of the leadership and making it a big part of they're part of this team. And then before you know it, it's their team.
You know, is that a hard thing to do? Because you pointed out, right, you went into Chicago and they had a younger group there, very talented. There's some similarities. Is it hard to get young guys to just realize, hey, don't wait for the next guy anymore. You're the guys that have to do it. This is your team.
Well, when you look at players' careers, 10 years is a long time almost in today's progression for players. And if you get 10 years, you don't have a lot of time to catch up, and you don't have too many chances to win. And I think that this group here is pretty fortunate that there's so many players that are in that mix right now at a ripe age. And you can't teach speed, can't teach quickness. Mm-hmm. These players have a lot of those ingredients. And I think that that transition happens faster when you're around it than you think. And you no sense in waiting for it to happen. I think that's part of the involvement as players. Everybody's going to want to play more. Everybody wants to be a part of it. I've never seen a player that, no matter if you're young or old, that doesn't want to play more and want more responsibilities. So you got a competitive environment there. I think that we can all push each other in a meaningful way.
All right, you just got a good look at two kids in particular at the World Championships for Team USA, right? You got Jackson Lacombe and Cutter Gauthier. Both were a big part of things. I don't know how much of that you got to watch, but I would think that experience for those guys is really helpful.
Well, I thought it was great for them. Talked to both of them. They're all excited. We're excited for them. I thought Jackson on the back end, boy, he really came on in that tournament there. He was, his partner was pretty good as well. So that was a pretty dynamic pair. I thought he played great. I liked his pace of his game. I love D being active in the attack. That complements his game to a T. Scored a couple clutch goals and meaningful shifts and talking about Cutter, I mean, he's got speed that you don't find many places, and he brings a different element. I thought the American team had tremendous speed throughout their lineup. He could have been as quick as anybody out there. So he's got some great ingredients, got a great shot as well. They're all excited. Quite an accomplishment that hadn't been achieved in 90 years. So they're pretty proud and excited about representing their country and coming back victorious. And I told them, enjoy the summer like you won the cup, but let's make sure that we're excited, take some of that enthusiasm with us when we begin training camp.
Yeah, 1933, the last time Team USA won the World Championships. And Joel, I know I covered that event. So, yeah. I mean, it's a long time ago. It was a long, long time ago. You can see
just a few years,
the points leaders there at the tournament there, and Cutter Gauthier with the 9 points. With the Ducks, again, you got two goaltenders, too, that I think can really help get you to the next level. Obviously, John Gibson has been a good goalie in the league for a while now. He's 31 years old. He had a .911 save percentage last year. There's been a lot of different discussion about John Gibson. Is he going to be traded? Is he staying there? I would think with all those young players and you coming in, he's going to be rejuvenated. And you got the kid Dostal that played very well last year. I think he had a .903 save percentage, just 24. So the goaltending looks like it's in pretty good shape.
Goaltending's in a real good spot. Not very often you look at the goaltenders on a team that finishes where they did, and you're going to look and say maybe the goaltending was the strongest and most predictable and consistent area of our team game. And I think it's been a healthy competition between John and Docs, and I spoke to him recently today, and I think that I hear nothing but good things about his approach to the game as well. But I think that goaltending seems like there's a lot more tandems going on in the game over the last few years. Yep. And you find out in the playoffs as we're going along this year, you're always going to need two guys, and somebody's going to be having to carry the weight at some point. And I think it's a healthy situation to be in, having two guys that you're comfortable with, and the guys seem to be excited about playing in front of. So I think that was a strength of the team. And I always find that that's the key part of team success moving forward is the strength of your goaltending.
Q, the special teams for the Ducks last year was a real struggle. It probably was the biggest reason why they couldn't even push up further in the standings. They had a really nice improvement last year, but special teams was not one of those areas. How do you go about getting those things better?
Well, I think collectively, I still think we have some couple of guys we want to add to our staff that can help us lead in those areas. I think as a team of coaches, we make sure that we make it competitive. We don't think it's a given thing. I think it's an earned reward of being in those situations, but you should take pride in knowing that that's the quality and quantity ice time that everybody should want in their game. And I think that there's some things technically you can look at why the PP didn't score as much as we'd expect or would want. And penalty killing, what we can do to keep it out of our net. And I think that you're watching the playoffs right now. You're seeing the importance of how that can influence a change of a game, an outcome of a series. And so I think that's going to be a focus of ours, knowing that we have to improve on that. We feel that there's some areas that immediately we'd like to tweak a bit, but I think that I think these players, just the fact that they're at that age where they should be improving, we think that should be part of those two areas of our team should be improving because they're getting better.
All right, you mentioned the playoffs. I know talking to you over the last, many, many years now, you're a hockey guy. You're watching all the time. I'm going to start in the West. We got that going tonight. Dallas is, in Edmonton. Dallas looks like, it's right now they're up against it. Edmonton went to the final last year. They seem really intent on getting back there. What do you make of that series as we head into game number 4?
Well, the playoffs up to this round were outstanding with a lot of unpredictability, a little bit more formful here. And then all of a sudden, the other series, now it could be anything after going to 5 games. Who knows? But in this series here, you could say that maybe Edmonton was a better team in Dallas, and maybe Dallas was a little bit better than the score was last game. But I feel that this series could go any way. I think both teams have a ton of skill, a ton of depth to score. Dangerous both ends of the rink. I think it's going to be, this is a huge game tonight. Edmonton's got all the momentum in their way, and I'm sure the building will be crazy tonight. But I'm not discounting Dallas. I think they got a number of guys that can score and make big plays, and let's see, with them being a little bit pressured in the situation, how they respond.
Q, like the great players in the history of this game, they seem to find a way to win the Stanley Cup, right? I mean, Gretzky, Lemieux, Crosby, Ovechkin, like the real faces of the league at any given time. You got to play against Gretzky in the 80s, in that era. You were coaching in many places with great players. You've seen the Crosbys, the Ovechkins. You coached Taves and Kane there in Chicago. Connor McDavid, it looks like he has had that evolution now in his career to the point where, like, it's win or nothing else. Like, he just looks like he is so focused. He uses the speed, in all 3 zones now to be such a factor in the game. Give me your thoughts on Connor McDavid and the evolution of his game and where he's at right now.
Well, he's the best player in the game. He's thrilling to watch. He's a game breaker. Changes the complexion. Could be that on any particular shift. So you got to be aware when you're playing against him how impactful he is on a game. Draisaitl obviously complements him as well, knowing that you got a little bit more to be concerned with just him. So can lighten up his load on some nights. But together they form a tremendous pair. It's hard to describe how you try to defend that speed. You can talk about how you want to, whether you're going to shadow them or you're gapping up on them or whatever, denying them the puck. But good players find a way to get the puck, and when they got it, there's some vulnerabilities you're going to be exposed to. But he's put on a couple of breakaway speeds here, and loose pucks. That is, it's pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, he's got that kind of speed, Q, that you don't understand it, I would imagine, unless you're on the ice against him and you see, like, he presents another gear that I don't think defenders who don't play against him a lot often understand. Like, in a 7-game series, you probably figure it out pretty quick, but, like, he is so unique in that way.
Yeah, he is. It's a 1 or 2 strides he's gone, and you think you're just gotten the right spot to defend him and slow him down a little bit, and it's just the opposite. But he's unique, and that explosiveness that makes the game so exciting, and his game even more exciting to watch.
I like it too with Chris Knoblauch, because he'll separate, as you point out, that 1-2 punch. He'll separate those guys. He'll put them back together. I know another guy, I think, in Chicago that used to do that with Kane and Taves a lot. It's an interesting thing to do. It's a feel of the game thing, isn't it?
Well, I think a lot of it is it gives you a little bit more depth when they're playing on 2 different lines. So you almost got one of them on the ice most of the game, and when you put them together, it seems like it's that time where you feel like you have to have it, you got to get it done here, and it's a big moment, it's a big stage. So going back and forth with it, and plus you get matchups a little bit might be tougher and tighter for one guy. The other guy gets a softer matchup a lot of times too when you break them up. So it's a nice option to have for sure. and privileged to have it in Chicago.
All right, let me ask you about the East quick with the Florida Panthers. You know a lot of those guys. You were in Florida for a couple of years. They're a monster now. They've won the Stanley Cup. They're trying to get to their third straight final. Give credit to the Hurricanes last night. They found a way to finally win a conference final game. Maybe they can build on that. But give me your thoughts on the Panthers and how impressive they've been.
They've been really impressive. It's their D. You look at, they're missing some guys. All of a sudden, you got Jones goes back or didn't go back to Florida, but he joins their team and recaptures some of his big years when he first got into the league, and looks like they're really playing well for them. And you got the big defenseman 77 who got hurt the other day, but boy, he was playing like a freak, and Forrest and Eck, and they got a group of defense that are very active in the game. They got probably the best patience holding the offensive blue line, physically demanding to play against. They're I think that's an underrated D that's really been dominant in these playoffs. And they got Benny's going like he's playing very well.
Yeah.
Then they got balance in their line. So they're getting Bob and Net's been freaky as well.
Yeah.
So they got no weaknesses, and as dominant as I've seen over the last, say, 7 or 8 games that we've seen probably through most stretches in a long time in the playoffs.
Yeah, one quick thing, too, because I wanted to ask you about Forsling, who's with the Panthers. Obviously, you had him in Chicago when he was first kind of trying to break into the league. I remember you telling me you really liked this guy. The Panthers ended up picking him up on waivers when you were part of that organization. I mean, why is Forsling why has it happened in Florida? Was it just he needed that time?
I don't know. Forrest, when we had him in Chicago, the first 2 years we had him, this is when we were winning cups. He was in the first 2 years in training camp. He was our best player in camp.
Wow.
And then he would go down to the minors a couple times there. And then as the season progressed, we'd play some games. But I think he really caught on, and then I give Duds credit and Dale as well for having him on the radar. He came in, and what a treat to coach, and watching him over the last 2 years being one of the top players or defensemen in the game. But he's a special kid that loves to play the game, and really takes the approach to the game to the next level of how important it is to him.
All right. Well, listen, Q, thanks for the time today. We really appreciate all your time. Congratulations on the new opportunity in Anaheim. We'll be watching. Get out and try to play a little golf. I know that you're down on your game right now. Get out and play a little golf this summer. You'll bounce back. You'll bounce back.
I'm brutal. I'm brutal at golf. I'm glad I don't get to play golf.
Oh, boy. All right, Q. Listen, thanks for the time. Good luck out in Anaheim.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Joel Quenneville, the new coach of the Anaheim Ducks. When we come back, we'll welcome in Billy Jaffe, who's on the scene there at Edmonton to help prepare us for game number 4, Stars and Oilers. That's next on First Shift. Here is a look at the series summary. Western Conference Final, Dallas Stars, Edmonton Oilers. Oilers up 2-1. And you can see 12 goals to 7. Look at those hits. For the Oilers, 140 hits. They are the hungry Hippos right now. I mean, they got to Game 7 of the Cup Final last year. They can taste another trip. We'll see if they can get there. And to help us get ready for Game 4 tonight, our buddy Billy Jaffe on the scene, part of the radio coverage for Sports USA, and also reporting for us here on NHL Network. Jeff, what's the update on Roope Hintz? Is there an update on whether or not he can play tonight?
The update is from Pete DeBoer is that he's going to try to play tonight. He's going to go out for warm-up again. I don't know. I feel like he's going to give it not that he didn't give it a go the other night, but I think the fact that a couple of more days each, I expect to see 24 out there for the Dallas Stars. I just do. I just feel like they really need him. I don't know what percent he's at, but he said he felt good. He felt the other day. He said he thought yesterday that he would be out today. So I'm gonna say that, gonna guess that he's gonna be out there. But that's the only update.
What's the feeling in the room over that? I mean, obviously they were sour afterwards, but it's hard to watch that play and really think that it was anything more than the 2-minute penalty they got. Are they still a little bitter about that? I mean, you never want to see a guy go down. You never want to see him injured, but it's just a play that happens all the time.
Yes. Yeah, that seems to be the theme, Deb. And I also listen, players, they don't want to focus on what the past. They want to focus on what's ahead. So I didn't even talk to anybody about that today, in fact, and really didn't. The first question of Pete DeBoer was about Roope Hintz, just to get the obvious update. And that was it. It was quick, succinct, and then nobody brought it up anymore. And just talking to Dallas people and players, I don't want to say it was a non-topic or discussion, or they didn't have feelings about it, but nothing today. It was, let's hope he can play, Dev. And that's it. They liked their game in game 2. They liked it a lot. Coaching staff, players liked their game an awful lot. And they did create a ton of chances, especially in that second period. Yeah. But that's nice. But ... They gotta finish now, and that's the big thing.
Jeff, when I look at the Stars' run here, I mean, a lot of it has been on the back of Rantanen and of Ottinger, it's seemingly, and they're not getting a ton from other guys. I mean, like Wyatt Johnston, we talked about yesterday, is like a -17. That's not the end all be all, but that number is so big. It's like, I think from what I understand, he is that's the highest number ever a player carried in to a conference final. So, I mean, that in itself is tricky. I know there was 5 empty netters in there, but that still leaves them at -12, which is not great. But they're not getting production there. They're not getting anything out of Matt Duchene. He has 0 even strength points in the playoffs. They need more from the rest of their lineup. What is Pete DeBoer saying about that?
He's saying, yeah, we need more. Yeah. He does like the fact, even though Rantanen hasn't scored, was it 6 games? Yeah. He likes what he's been doing. He's touching the puck. He's making plays happen. He's impactful. So he gets, I'll say it a pass from me as we take a look at some of his highlights. It is the other guys. It's the Benn. It's the Marchments. It's you bring up Wyatt Johnston. I mean, he's the big one because, and along with Duchene, although Duchene, the last couple again has been involved. I've liked his game more. I don't know if you guys agree. I've liked it more. Wyatt Johnston can play such a valuable role for this team, and we've seen him be dominant at times. Yet playoffs are different. I don't need to tell you that, Devin. Like, this is a different type of animal here. The heaviness. You brought up the major amount of hits that the Edmonton Oilers. I think Zach Hyman's got like 80% of those hits with how many he's brought so far. But the ice is shrinking, and Johnston hasn't been able to I feel like sometimes in a complimentary way, he slithers around the ice. He's got a lot of nimbleness to his game, and it hasn't been like that. And I give the Oilers a lot of credit. They've, for the most part, protected middle ice very well in the series. Again, I'll go outside of that of that second period in game 3 and the power play goals in game 1, beg your pardon. But overall, I feel like they've defensively done a really good job. A lot of talk this morning, guys. A lot of talk about how well the Oil have defended the rush or limited the transitional rush opportunities from Dallas. And let's face facts too. That's a place where some of those aforementioned guys, in particular Wyatt Johnston, could be very successful.
Yeah, and covering the Oilers games, like that's night and day from the start of the playoffs to when they were being successful. You watch the start of that LA series, and that was non-existent for Edmonton. That the rush coverage was terrible. They were giving up lots of rush. It just seemed almost like a practice, the way guys were coming in and hitting the late guy, and they've really tightened that up. I agree. I think Dallas last game, obviously they created a lot more scoring chances than they had in the previous 2 games. They were there. Unfortunately for them, they run into Skinner's probably best game of the playoffs. But, this isn't just one game. Like you said, these guys got to start to contribute. What do you think it is if you had to pick one thing that Dallas needs to do differently? Because they did play better last game and they got lots of scoring chances. What is it going to take for them to put the puck in the net?
Well, cliche 101, more traffic. Skinner's big man. Speaking of a big man, talking to you, Dubes, he's a big man who does a lot of blocking, and you wouldn't call him the most athletic netminder. I think we'd agree that. So make him battle even more, get even more bodies in the front of it, have one go off in your backside, your shoulder, whatever. Do it that way. Yes, Skinner was excellent. I give him full marks the last couple, but in particular last game he was outstanding. but get more involved. Get their D involved more. You know, we watched in game one, gents, about how often the Edmonton Oilers, the first two periods, had their D involved in a high cycle and really good darting down the wall, very aggressive. I mean, it was almost like a it was a five-man cycle, a five-man flow. Maybe this is where Dallas needs to engage them a little more. The scary part of that, Devin, if you engage those D more, is that you got a few guys that can bust you-know-what the other way. And we saw Harley with an ill-advised pinch the other day that led to the McDavid 3-on-1 goal. So I think that's that. Is that decision? Are we going to get them to D involved a little bit more? Oh, no, we got to be very cognizant of the potential bad result if we do just that. But Dubes, that's what I think. I think they perhaps got to get a little more involved and get guys to the front. It's cliche, but because these other guys aren't scoring, they need to figure out that dirty goal that way.
Yeah, you know, we may look back on this all at the end and say the LA Kings really had the Edmonton Oilers in trouble, to your point, Dubes, and then the Oilers were able to figure it out. They took advantage of maybe some ill-advised decisions by the LA Kings and really got their game going. And they have four of the top scorers in the playoffs are on the Oilers, led, of course, by Connor McDavid. Jeff, you're getting to see those games in person now at McDavid. I just was, the other day, that just acceleration on that 3-on-1 play, I mean, you just don't see that kind of ability. I mean, I've been watching this game for a long time. Give me your thoughts on McDavid, watching him through these first three games, because boy, he is, I mean, it's easy to say, yeah, he's special, he's a great player, but like, he is something that's so unique. We haven't seen that. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
You haven't. You haven't. And this is me agreeing with you, but talking to other players about the things that he can do, you don't get to see. We haven't seen the player that I've watched him in the warm-ups the last couple of games. Really watched him. You know, I did all the cup last year, like you were there too, Ege. But this year I've been down even earlier and watching the warm-ups. His edge work, I've just focused on it. It is mesmerizing. To me, I would say the comparison might be like a Sergei Fedorov. How, you know, he could almost go, I don't know what degree angle you would call it, but I don't say his shoulder was touching the ice, but you know what I mean? Like he could get down and he could accelerate more than we've ever experienced. Bure was the same way. But the edge work of Connor McDavid and his ability to turn, and it's literally, it's not just crossing over, turning, it's turning and getting that goal, the third goal the other night, great example of it. He accelerates out of it so much. It's literally being shot out of a rocket with, you know, turbo jet engines or whatever. It's phenomenal. So you watch it up close. I can't but not appreciate it. I'm absolutely awed by it. I know I'm going on and on about it because it's beyond impressive. Yeah. I've loved what he's done. I just want to say one thing though here too. I don't know how much time we have. I got to tell you something. I think maybe the best overall player that's for Edmonton up front. I mean, Hyman's been awesome. He's bringing up, but Nugent Hopkins has been terrific. Wow, like you know, he has been fantastic with everything that he has brought in this year. His consistency, fellas, has been just amazing. We know his passing has always been great, but he does so many little things. I just think he's completing this team up front right now. And he's going to go down as one of the great Edmonton Oilers in his career. And he's got a long way to go. I'm not retiring the kid, but he's been around forever, it seems like, because he started at, 18, 19 years old. Yeah, multiple points in each of the first three games. So he is having an outstanding series and a great playoff as well. Jeff, enjoy it tonight. Those fans will be buzzing in Edmonton. I can't wait. 114 decibel level.
There you go.
Ears will feel it. See you guys.
Right. Billy Jaffe on hand for the Oilers and Stars tonight. When we come back, Blackhawks made the announcement. Jeff Blashill taking over as new head coach. We'll talk about the Hawks and what the future holds. That's next on First Shift. Well, little news out of Chicago today. They made it official. Jeff Blashill takes over as the head coach, introduced today. You can see his record with the Detroit Red Wings over several seasons there. Coached in the minors. He was the assistant coach in Tampa over the last couple of years. The 42nd coach in Blackhawks history. And He spoke about the challenge earlier today.
Every single coaching job in the NHL is a great job. But for me, this job at this moment with this team was the exact job that I wanted. And for a multitude of reasons. Number one, I believe in working with great people. And I know the research I did going into this job and carrying out and getting to know the management group, getting to know Danny. These are the type of people I want to go to work with every day. I think we have a shared vision of how we're going to get to the top. And I look forward to walking that vision on a daily basis with this group. Number two is the great player pool that Kyle spoke about earlier. The scouts here have done an excellent job. I think we have a number of great young players in the system, and also young players that are going to be with us to start the season in Chicago and knocking on the door in Rockford. And I think we have an opportunity to have depth at every position, and honestly, potential superstars at every position, and that's very unique in this league. And my job now is to help mold them, teach them, coach them, lead them to becoming great winners in this league. And so I'm extremely excited about that and that opportunity. I don't want that to sound like it's going to be easy, because it's not. It's going to be hard. It's going to take more sacrifice and more work than most people are willing to give. But for those that are willing to give it, I think the reward's going to be great. In time, this great city of Chicago and our great Blackhawks fans, we can deliver a championship level team, and I look forward to getting to that moment. Thank you.
So Jeff Blashill taking over as head coach of the Hawks. Earlier we had Joel Quenneville on, and he's taking over a young team, and so is Jeff Blashill. They've got some high-end players, Doobie. Can they make a jump next year?
Yeah, well, they need to. They need to start seeing some progression. And one thing I really like, I like the Spencer Knight deal. I like them. You got to start with a goaltender, and I think that was an opportunity that they brought in a guy who can be their franchise goaltender. So starting from the back end, that's a great spot, and you just want to see improvement out of all these guys.
Yeah, no question. I agree with you. I got to speak to Spencer Knight at the Boston College graduation this year. His sister graduated. Great young man. He's excited about the opportunity, so it should be a lot of fun in Chicago moving forward. Doobie, it's been a good show today. We'll try to do it again tomorrow. NHL Now coming up next. See you later, everybody.